a proof of concept. And for jetpacks, there were only 111 jetpacks that we put out, and there were just 3-4 different models. It wasn't some complex generative collection. It was very simple. And yeah, jetpacks obviously did what they did. They sold out in 20 seconds and kind of formed the community around them. And we made more money than we had made in years of building AR in 20 seconds, and just made sense that that was our secret weapon against all the other AR platforms like Snapchat and Instagram and whatnot are going to have a hard time using, NFT-based incentive systems to introduce that in their platform. And we are building an AR platform that is kind of based on that core.
Cool. Thank you, Asad. So, Asad, another question that, and these are all questions that the community members have already come up with, and I'm asking on behalf of them. So we always hear about the success of Jadu and as a founder, and what are some of the things that some advice you would give to anyone who's looking to maybe start their own project, or anyone who is relatively involved in a community? What are some things you've learned along the way? Some advice that you could give to us that would help us in our day-to-day. So anything to add here?
I think that, when waves like this show up where there's, crazy activity happening financially and there's just a lot of opportunities, I think it's important to just be true to yourself in a way where instead of just, trying to launch some NFT immediately because the market's so hot, really think about what do you want to do with your life and your time anyway? I'm sure everyone has strong hobbies and interests and ideas of what they want to pursue. And I think it's just really important to stick by that and imagine how NFTs or crypto or this space can help facilitate your actual core thing you want to do. I think just doing NFTs is not a thing on its own, or it is right now, but in the long term, it has to be tapping into some greater idea. And at the end of the day, NFTs are just a way of capturing value in really unique ways and building value that your community can kind of exchange. They're just like units of value, and what is the value? Is there something that the holders are getting access to? What's the project you're truly building? So just, I think, staying really true to your actual interests and what you want to build is really important. I think people can get carried away really easily just looking at what's happening in the space and being like, okay, let me just release some PFP collection as soon as possible so I can make some money, or let me release, some one-of-one art so I can make some money. I just think that those are limited approaches, and we're already in a saturated market and they don't really work.
Right. I think that's good to hear, because that is true that a lot of times people come in and they just want to put out an NFT for the short term, or maybe without actuality where their strengths lie. And with Jadu, what I've specifically noticed is that you guys are constantly going back to what the core of what you did in the past, and then building on that, which is very unique in itself. Another question from one of the community members is, what are some sort of as this industry grows, is there some sort of path they can take, any sort of courses they can take, any sort of route that you would guide them from an educational perspective, or is it mostly just are there any credible sorts of courses that you would recommend, or anything of that sort?
I've never really been a very academic courses type of person, honestly. So it's not a way in which I learn usually. So I'm not the best person to give advice on that. I think as far as I'm concerned, the most important thing, once again, is what do you want to do and what your like what your motivations and intentions are, what do you want to see happen in the world that you're trying to get to, and just that's what you should focus on. Obviously, there's tons of learning you can do online. There are, all kinds of things you can read on any topic you want, all kinds of things you can watch on any topic you want. Just like, obviously in order to learn about the NFT space, first of all, I think it's important to recognize that all of this stuff is just really new. And what that means is no one's really an expert in it, or anyone who's an expert in it has been an expert for a few months or at most a year. That is not long enough time to be an expert in anything. And, the space changes somewhat that people that were experts 3 months ago in one type of wave are not experts anymore. So what that means is that there's tons of opportunity. You can come in and have a relatively equal playing field to everyone else. Spend time understanding what's happening in the space, look at other projects, look at how they're doing things, look at how projects that you like, how they're building their community or managing their expectations, or all the kind of things that go into building these kind of things. And once again, ask yourself, like, what role do you want to play? Because at the end of the day, this is like a wide open space. Like, you want to make art, you can make art. You want to do spreadsheets and economic or budgeting, you can do that as well. But there's a lot of opportunity. It's a new industry that's just gonna have needs for all kinds of people. So I think there's a lot one can explore. Obviously, on the technical side, if you're trying to do anything to do with game engines, Unity or Unreal, or if you're in a point in your career where you're super malleable, you don't know which direction you want to go to, but you want to do something technical and want to do something that would definitely have, jobs or something like that. In that scenario, I think learning game engines is something that is not going anywhere. Yeah.
So Asad, where's one space that you still feel like there's like a lack of talent in the NFT space, or needs like more proficiency and a level of effort, which can be made from individuals on this call that can maybe look that route as well, if of interest? Do you have any, you've been in the market long enough to know, like, where's one space you can find? And I know you guys are extremely lucky to have to really, like, the talent that Jadu has and the team that you guys have created. You guys are very lucky to have that level of resources come into play. For any small company or anyone who's exploring this space, where is that, like, where's that lack of, I guess, where things can become better, or by reading up or self-learning? Where's that one thing you feel like there's a huge opportunity for people still?
Mm-hmm. So I think that every aspect of this space is really, really not done well yet. Like, we're so early in the space, and when a new technology pops up or a new community kind of emerges around a new technology with a bunch of early adopters, usually it sucks, and usually the people in it suck too, honestly. Like, because often it's people that have not been able to make it in the traditional world for all kinds of reasons. Maybe they were discriminated against, maybe they didn't get the right opportunities, in which case everything's good. But often they're people that just weren't capable enough, often cases, to manage the high expectations of already existing industries that are going to require tons of skill and talent and experience. So a lot of people early on, when a new wave of technology starts and there are a lot of early adopters, often it's not exactly the people that are the most capable. And I that's my personal view of the NFT space right now. I think pretty much all, like, I would say the vast majority of projects, like 90 to 95% of the projects, are definitely not going to be around for sure. And because we're already seeing this, like, projects that made, like, let's say $1 million in a mint or $2 million in a mint 6 months ago, they're running out of their money. Like the founders probably took a bunch of money, and the rest of it, if they try to do anything with, it's probably running out. The royalties are probably going away now, and they're just all going to have to close. And that's going to be the case for most of them. And the reason for that is when you start letting people build custom economies, most custom economies that are going to be built are going to either be scams because it's an unregulated market and people want to make money, or they're going to be overly leveraged kind of situations in which you're trying to make your participants really wealthy, in which case they're not sustainable either. And so I think the opportunity here is really big as well, which is being able to really iterate on truly kind of unique, novel economic models and iterate on them till you arrive at really compelling solutions that allow for value exchange between the participants of an economy to be more and more, fair or, balanced. So in short, what I'm saying is that every aspect of this industry right now, from the development talent that exists, there's a huge shortage of development talent, both on the game engine side, both on the blockchain solidity side, and in terms of every aspect of it, everything from design to art to, UX to, community management. There are tons of more social science oriented ideas that are important in the space now as well. Like, our community moderators are very different types of people than our engineers. They have very different backgrounds. They come from very different places. So there's just a lot of flexibility. And I think the best way to think about this space is to truly, as I keep saying, find out what you care about the most. And there is an angle. There is an angle there. I was talking yesterday to a founder who is one of our investors' portfolio company, and we were having a conversation. And they're building something where they're building a system for people to exchange time more effectively as an on-chain resource. So you could kind of have these NFTs that represent your time, and if you're getting a doctor's appointment, or if you're asking someone for advice, or if I'm coming and doing something like this, the time becomes an NFT in itself that's being exchanged, that you are acquiring, and or whoever so it's, once again, it's a super novel idea to just make time this central value of exchange and build a platform around it that allows people to kind of exchange their time in a more effective way. And it's as I said, it's not a thing that you would have thought about in the Web2 space. So there are just tons of opportunities where you can come up with new concepts, because people are so willing to do new things right now. That's usually there's so much friction to convince people to try a new thing or try a new concept. But I think right now people are in the crypto space are so flexible and willing to move into the future and do new things that I think there's tons that people can do and get into.
Thank you, Asad. So another question that's popped up on our Discord. What is why are you so bullish on Sandbox? And is this just a preference that Jadu's taking because of the compatibility of the NFT with Sandbox, or are you more bullish on Sandbox versus Decentra? Do you have any sort of reasoning why you chose that route more than Decentraland? Are you able to expand on that?
Yeah, I mean, look, the only what I'm personally bullish on is what we are building, because that's the only thing I have control over, and that's kind of what we're focusing on. As far as Sandbox, Decentraland, a lot of the virtual worlds go, I think it's going to take some time. I think virtual reality is not ready, number one. Number two, I think your everyday person does not really download apps on their computer or play games on their computer. The average person just does not. So to me, a mobile platform is what makes more sense. And if it's on mobile, it should be AR, because that's the most immersive experience you can have on mobile, in my personal opinion. So that's what our focus is. That's why we don't spend too much time trying to get our assets working everywhere else. In theory, we are completely down with that idea, but if it's going to take away effort from our team that's being put on our own platform, that's not worth it. The reason we did Sandbox is because we have a good relationship with them. The CEO, the COO is one of our investors, and they're building. Once again, they've been building this for a long time. They have a lot of resources. They've built out a lot. So we partnered with Snoop Dogg and did their Sandbox avatars with them, and we got our jetpacks working in Sandbox as well. But it's not some like massive preference or something. I'm not even very familiar with Decentraland or have spent much time in it because personally, honestly, I've not been very interested in either a lot of the virtual worlds because they don't look flushed out enough. They don't look like there's anything to do there yet. Like I've just had no reason to really be like, oh, I'm going to go spend time in this virtual world. Yeah.
So we have a question from Ashmal. Ashmal, you can actually unmute yourself and ask that question if you'd like.
Do you want me to unmute and ask? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yep, you're good.
All right. My question is, why isn't the media already being used to advertise NFTs or through radio podcasts and getting the word out there? Because obviously we all know that with the more hype that's built around this, the more people that get involved, the more people that actually get into crypto, it'll only benefit the NFT world in a positive way. That's inevitable. Do you think that should be getting started now, or is that for future?
You're saying, why are we not, like, is this Jadu specific or just general for the space?
Sorry?
Are you asking specifically about why we don't advertise much, or in general for the NFT space?
In general, in Pakistan, right now.
Okay, I see. Well, I mean, you guys tell me. I'm not very familiar with what's happening in Pakistan as far as this space. I mean, on one hand, it is a bit removed, right? Like the NFT space is kind of a bizarre bubble, and people have their own kind of ways of assigning value. It's very different from the rest of the world. People, spend millions of dollars buying photos of animals. Like, it's just not something that your everyday person, especially in a developing country like Pakistan, where people are, often struggling to put food on the table, can grasp.
I completely get you. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, say when crypto is adopted as a currency that is used by people that normally wouldn't have bank accounts. So we're talking, people from Pakistan, the wider range of people start to actually know what crypto is. Don't you think by then, if there is a media hype about it, more people would then try and understand, try and jump in with the trend? Because there are a lot of people in Pakistan. There's a lot of potential for it to explode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't know if like media hype often is not the best way to educate people. That's kind of the only thing I'd say. People have been hearing about Bitcoin and whatnot for like a decade now. That doesn't mean a lot of people have gotten into it. I think we see that kind of stuff on the news everywhere, but a lot of people still kind of, have a hesitation. So, I mean, yes, absolutely. But in order for something to have media hype, it just needs to have more cultural relevancy over time, right?
Okay, so something that works, something that you can show to them that actually has a value other than it being an NFT.
Yeah, people need to understand how it works for them and what they can do with it. And I think that a lot of it's going to be organic word of mouth. Like, I think, if you guys are trading NFTs and sharing it with your friends and, more and more people are kind of, learning and becoming aware, that's how it goes.
And as the people become more aware and more people become aware of Dunya and the Dunyaverse, then obviously they'll get more interested and that will slowly build the hype as well. So yeah, okay. That makes sense.
Well, any other raise of hands, guys? Ramiz Kazi.
Hi guys, how are you all doing? So I'm basically from Pakistan and I've been trading for like almost half a decade now. Can you all hear me?
Yeah, yeah, we can hear you, Ramiz.
Yeah,
Uh, so how are you? How is everyone doing here?
I'm doing good. Ramiz, how are you? You joined in, huh?
Yeah, I just did. So I've been trading from like half a decade now, and I have like premium groups and community behind me, right? So I'm originally from Pakistan, and the community here is all about, they're all about the gold rush here, right? So it's more about making, they're making gains than just using crypto as a payment gateway. So, in my opinion, NFTs can be a huge deal initially because assigning value is it's a different concept. But I feel like how the Bored Ape Yacht Club worked out. They have used NFTs as passes for their parties and stuff. And also, there's news about Emirates joining the NFT club, right? So I think this is going to be a huge deal in in the coming 5 more years since especially since we could get tickets as NFTs and we could have utility in them. So even though the NFT space just started blooming with art, and it's more about JPEGs and less about utility until Bored Ape Yacht Club joined the club.
Yep. Thank you, Ramiz. Thank you for your views. I think this is more of like a like something.
Hmm.
Is there a question that you're asking? Is it this more of like an open
No,
kind
no,
of
it's just my it's
your
like an
thought
open
process? Sure. Yeah, I totally agree with that. Asad, do you have something to add there?
Look, at the end of the day, it's new technology that, lets you package up value in a different way. Now, what you do with it, there are like a bazillion possibilities. You can do anything with it. And you can do ticketing with it, or you could sell digital art with it, or you could do literally a million other things with it. This is where I see the most value in it, and I will explain this to you guys to the best of my ability now. When the way the world works is that people need to make things and people need to buy things. That's how the economy works, right? Like, even if you look at it on a macro level, the way the world functions is that China makes a lot of things, right? And the US buys a lot of things. That's how the world functions. In order for the rest of the countries often to even be working properly as part of the global economy, you need China to be making a lot of things and the US to be buying those things. It serves an economic purpose. And constantly, the US subsidizes and takes taxes off and blah, blah, blah to encourage China to be able to maintain their level of production. And in the meantime, the US prints money as well to make sure that American consumers have the ability to be purchasing. Now, everything is designed to make people buy more things, right? You have ads and you have targeted ads, and constantly you want people to be buying things. The more people buy things, the healthier the economy supposedly is. So there's a real economic purpose to buying and selling things. And other than that, there's a psychological purpose to buying and selling things, right? Most of the things we buy, we don't need. We don't need them. Most of the things we buy are for some aspect of signaling or some kind of expectation that you're buying something. It's looking at American consumer society. On one extreme, you have really rich people that are going to spend, thousands, possibly hundreds of thousands of dollars on, let's say, designer goods and designer bags and designer clothes, where the entire value is this perceived value around the brand. And it's a psychological thing more than anything else. You pay thousands of dollars, you get this thing with a logo, and psychologically you feel satisfied. It's not something about the material or the actual utility of the actual thing. It's not about that. You can get the same utility for, like much, much cheaper. And then on the other hand of society, you have, people that don't have that much money that are buying, let's say, Halloween goods at a Walmart, or, the Pakistani equivalent of that would be, let's say like people that are buying like toys from the like local dude that's like making them for the kids, or just when we are buying and selling things, it serves an economic purpose in those local communities and the global communities, and it serves a psychological purpose for most individuals. Now, the problem is that we are getting really good at making things and buying things. Too good. To the point where now there are too many things. There are just too many things. The world is over polluted. People are making more and more plastic stuff that is completely useless, that just breaks down, you throw it in the trash. Our shipping, our ports are all filled up with shipping containers. They're just global supply shortages of materials, there are global supply shortages of raw goods. Amazon offers like 1 day shipping, and our network is just clogged. Like, people have really high expectations of buying things. Now, I think that the only way out of this is that we move most commerce to the digital space, because most of the purpose it serves is an economics purpose and a psychological purpose. And I think that virtual goods can serve more compelling psychological purposes than physical goods. You can have creators that are not slaving away in factories, but instead are using their creativity to express themselves in the most compelling ways possible in a medium that is infinite, that has no material requirements. And then there are other people that are buying those things and interacting with those things to find certain psychological benefit and pleasure. And it is leading to the economic activity and exchange that allows for a healthy value exchange system to exist. And that's the world we're moving towards. Will my kid get a physical remote control car on their birthday that they will break the next day and I'll have to buy them another one? Or will they get, an AR hologram of a car that is an NFT that can be upgraded, or that they can play with their friend, or they could take it to some festival nearby and get this rare mod? It's a lot more interesting to imagine this more dynamic virtual asset that has all these possibilities than to imagine more and more Chinese physical plastic goods that are going to be clogging our planet more. That's how I think about it. So on the macro level, I think humanity is going to move towards a world where more and more of our value exchange and buying and selling of things is going to be virtual. And as that happens, I think that is going to be good for the world, because that's going to make our physical world more well-intentioned, and we'll have less stuff and we'll have stuff we need. And I think that is a better future scenario. And that's where I think NFTs are most useful, because it's not just about value exchange from the physical world. Obviously, that will happen too, but it's really about creating these new classes of assets that people find a new type of psychological and economic value and benefit in. And that's why AR items are so fun and interesting, because they feel tangible. When you buy a hoverboard, you can say, I own a hoverboard. You may not be able to ride it, but your avatar can ride it in your room. Psychologically, it's very satisfying to feel like you own a hoverboard, So yeah, just thought I'd place it like that.
Thank you, Asad. I think that was very well said. Hamad, do you have a question? You raised your hand.
Hey, Asad. Hi. How are you? Big fan here. I think
Okay.
Taha already mentioned that at the start of the call. I had a question. You mentioned something about how projects die out because the founders have made a project, they got all the money out of it, they've used some resource for utilizing something or the other, and by now that money is running out. Um, what do you think is a way for a creator of an NFT to somehow not fall into that trap, where the money that comes in can be utilized and they can continue growing in this NFT space?
So, let's see. So I think there are three scenarios that I can imagine. There is one scenario in which, you are raising the question is, why are you raising the money, right? Like, that's the first question. Let's say you are building a product, right? In our case, we are building a product. So we're building an AR product and we need money to make that. And when people buy our NFTs, it gives us money to make the product. And that's why they're giving us money, because they believe in our team to make this product, and they believe in the product to be a significant enough product that in the future, they presume it's going to generate returns, and we are going to build value for them as our early investors or holders. So it's not that much different from how venture investment works, right? Like, people give you money, they get equity in return, and over time the equity becomes more valuable. And honestly, it really is like that. It's like when you do a seed round or something and you have a valuation, your investors literally are like NFT holders. They're looking for their next buyer to sell at a higher floor price, like, pretty much. And NFTs are the same way. It's just they're more liquid. With stock or equity, you can't really sell it on the secondary market. You can't just list it on floor and someone will buy it. NFTs allow you to just also sell when you have to. So if you're building a company, the way we did it, and my advice if someone's really building this as a company, is you sell NFTs, you count them as revenue, and then you use that as momentum to raise institutional investment as well. Because products require a lot, right? Like, we made $400,000 on jetpacks, and then we made around $5 million on hoverboards. And then instead of just using that money, we also raised a seed round where we raised $7 million from investors. That gave us, enough money where we have like $10, $12 million to hire a lot of people and know that we're not going to die out for at least the next year and a half, and be able to pay those people and just keep building. And in the meantime, it puts us in a good place to do other drops and whatnot. So there's that aspect of it. Then there are other forms of projects where, let's say, you're building a community and really you're treating it as a membership club. And in that scenario, the question becomes, how can you add value to your holders? Like, if, let's say, 10,000 people buy your NFT and you make $1 million, the question is, what is the most effective way for you now to spend $1 million so that the 10,000 people are very happy? Because in that scenario, the 10,000 people are going to be very happy, in which case they would not want to sell their asset, which means the floor price of the asset will go up a lot, because the people that own it are happy enough to not want to sell it, in which case you will have a good, strong market, and you will have, a high floor price, which will allow you to possibly have more releases that also bring you revenue. So there's that aspect of it, and we'll find out how well that can play. We don't know how many of those the market can sustain. So time will tell, but at the same time, knowing how much money exists now because of how much the US has been printing money as well, I think that these aspects actually can sustain for a while right now. So yeah, just like have an end goal and really just focus on that. Yeah.
Nice. Thanks. Really appreciate that.
So Asad, I know we have like 9 minutes left for the call. So just wanted to actually, a team member had a question for you. So again, what our goal at Dunya is to, so we are building fashion accessories as an NFT, and that accessory will basically be connected to the courses and the material that we're creating for the for people over here, because they've been everyone just wants to learn in our community and grow into the blockchain, smart contract, and just so we are essentially, coming up with different elements of courses, a lot of research for our community, and that fashion accessory will be their way into kind of getting into the university, the Dunyaverse, and really getting knowledge from the courses. Everything that we make from that goes back to the community, so it's a very our goal is to enable learning, and Amara is actually at the forefront kind of creating the accessory art and for the different avatars that we're building them for. So I'm just gonna, Amara, do you want to say hi real quick, unmute your mic, and then if you have any question you could ask Asad.
Hi Asad, firstly congratulations. Been following Jadu and it's absolutely exciting. So I'm creating some of the wearables for the avatars at Dunya. So I just wanted to ask, from your experience, what are the kind of accessories that are interesting, and what do we need to fill within this space? What direction should we be thinking in? Since we're still in the early stages of developing, and we're really excited about the possible avenues that this can go in. So just talking to someone who has experience in this area, it would be really helpful.
Yeah, for sure. So, I think one of the questions to ask is a lot of this stuff is just speculative right now, right? People are just imagining a future and they're investing in this imagined future, and people like when things aren't that tangible. It's a kind of a counterintuitive thing, but weirdly, if you give them the exact utility for a thing, often the exact utility isn't worth that much money. You know what I mean? So people like to just imagine that in the future there's some magical utility that's worth infinite money that we're getting one day. It's very bizarre. It's a very weird situation we're in, but that is how it is. So what I would recommend is, if you're making a wearable for avatars, really ask yourself, what can you make that's gonna, show people this long-term thing, where they can look at it and just imagine, what this can look like in the long term, and it just triggers a bigger response. So for example, jetpacks are a good example of that, because the way it happened was that Meebits came out, and I was like, okay, well, here's this NFT. I bought a Meebit, and I was like, okay, now what do I do with it? Where can you use it? There really aren't many places. So I said, okay, let's try to play with it in AR. So I told my team to bring it in, and we started kind of messing with the avatar. And immediately what we realized was that we had always treated AR as a first-person medium. What that means is that you are the player. You don't need an avatar if you're already the player. So by adding an avatar between you and the world, it was kind of a counterintuitive decision, but it suddenly made everything feel super tangible, because you can see an avatar running around your room and whatnot. And we were like, okay, what item do we give it to show people that items can be used within our world? And we decided on a jetpack, because it was, number one, it was really visual. Seeing an avatar use a jetpack in AR was such a weird, unique thing that people really gravitated towards that. And it showed this future. It created this future in people's heads in which avatars could use items to do things inside the real world. It painted this future vision into people's heads with just a couple of videos and the concept. So what you want to do is find a concept that can paint a future vision, that people can kind of look at an avatar using this wearable and be like, oh, I can imagine where this would go. It's, either something that's building or playing on what people use on the physical world, or is going for something that's, more fantastical in nature. The possibilities are limitless. Obviously, you can build so many things that people use or avatars might use. But being able to kind of tap into this future vision, I think, is really key.
I just wanted to ask something. So you're talking about the utility aspect, and that obviously is the most exciting part about this imagined future. But if our focus is driven by fashion wearables, what do you think is the viability of like focusing on fashion as the kind of the core point within our accessories for the avatars?
Yeah, well, that's kind of, like even fashion has its traditional constraints or traditional kind of trends. And, so really, if the idea is fashion, first of all, like know who your audience is, right? Like, is your audience people that are super well versed in fashion, people that have been involved with the fashion industry, are familiar with, how couture works, or, like, is it a kind of high fashion literate audience, in which case you want to take in inspiration and elements from the existing fashion world, some references people can understand, and then play on top of them to see what you could do with them in virtual spaces. Or maybe your audience is not that fashion literate and it's actually everyone, or it's the NFT space at large, in which case coming up with like a novel possibility. Like, to me, doing shoes is not interesting. People ask us all the time, why don't you do shoes? Or like, it's just, we have shoes, we have plenty of shoes on the physical world, and plenty of people make shoes online. Like, it's just wasn't interesting. But hoverboards and jetpacks were a lot more interesting because they're like these fantasy sci-fi elements. Everyone wanted them to exist. They never ended up existing. A lot of people that are kind of older, like read science fiction or watched movies and are familiar with these concepts. So we were able to tap into that nostalgia for this like imagined future, right? So just ask yourself what you're trying to tap into. Are you trying to just deviate from fashion as it is? Are you trying to show a new vision of what fashion could be? That's kind of how I would think about it. It's not exactly utility, not that you can use this wearable to do a specific thing, but however the wearable is structured can paint a vision of the way future fashion can be handled for people.
Thank you so much for your help. I think this really helps me think about the different possibilities. So thank you so much for sharing from your experience.
Absolutely. And if I can give you more specific advice, I would say, I think it would be lovely to see like Pakistani, more traditional elements and patterns, and, truck art, and, like embroidery techniques and all these kind of things that exist already. I think playing on them with a futuristic angle and seeing what that looks like in the future and really pushing that is, number one, very interesting on its own, because not many people are going to be doing that. You're in a unique position where you're familiar with these things and you're around them. And I think for a lot of people in the outside world as well, they would be very compelling. And also, like in general, I would say like a Pakistani female artist building wearables, taking inspiration from the local clothes, but imagining a real future for it. I think that is a great thing that the space will welcome. And I know personally a lot of people and funds that would drop real money on that stuff too. So, yeah.
Thank you, Asad. That's really helpful. Can we take one last question, Asad, if you have like another few minutes?
For sure. Let's do it.
Zinesh, do you have any questions, brother? Because I know you've been involved since the very start of the time. If Zinesh has any questions.
So far I don't have any questions about Jadu, but I wanted to ask you one thing, Asad. If there was any other thing you would do besides hoverboards, jetpacks, and avatars, which you just recently launched, which are launching, is what else could you have done, and what would you add your twist to it as as a AR, if you can understand what I'm saying?
Sure. I mean, so you're saying that if Jadu was doing other forms of assets in AR with some utility, what could they look like, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I think, there are a lot of possibilities, and, there are tons of things we speak about. I mean, look, the place where we want to be is that you have this augmented reality world and people can build their own assets in it. And, eventually our goal is to be a platform, right? Like, eventually everyone should be able to develop for the platform. And at that point, there are just infinite possibilities. You could do like fantasy based stuff. You could do like armor and swords and like shields, and you could totally go that direction. Or you could, I don't know, go like a completely different direction. We're at the end of the day, like, people love just getting into virtual worlds. That's why people read books. That's why people watch movies. They love getting lost in like fantastical kind of created worlds where things are similar to how they are in the real world, but they're more exaggerated and serve a different purpose. And all of that can happen within AR. All of that can be really compelling within AR. So yeah, I mean, like, there are a lot of people on our team that really like want to do swords and weapons and are really interested in those kind of things. Has not yet made sense, but you never know in the future. So yeah, I think there are just a lot of possibilities. I think imagining new things is really fun as well. Like imagining like instruments of the future that let you serve like purposes and utility that doesn't exist right now. I really like speculative design and things like that, where you can kind of imagine systems of the future. Like, what does it look like when all the cars are self-driving? Like, what does that overarching system look like? Or what is design that is inheriting from like natural patterns, biomimicry, and generative stuff? And so sorry, that's a very loose answer because, as I said, the possibilities are pretty much limitless, and we only are really just mostly focused on the things that we are building. And yeah, I'm really excited about the Avas and building our own avatars. I think that's just a really fun and creative process right now. And as I said, we have a really big team, so we're doing a lot of very novel things with this that no one's done in the space. And yeah, that's really exciting for us right
That's
now.
great. Thanks. Okay, if you have time, I just want to ask you this one last question, but it's kind of controversial, I would say. Do you think NFT is a bubble that's about to pop? Because I've been reading up on this a lot, and a few people on the internet are saying that yes, this is just like a phase, and then it's just gonna pop. Like, do you have anything to say about this?
Yeah, what I have to say about this is, yeah, I hope it pops. I mean, it's half of it is a mess, like, for sure.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean like there is an opportunity here, right? Like, that doesn't mean every single company working in the space is just going to disappear. It just means there's a lot of opportunity right now, and it's too much opportunity. It doesn't feel sustainable because it's also big and the numbers are so big. But at the same time, I do think it is more sustainable than people give it credit for because of how much money there is in the market now. Like, the US has 80% of all the dollars, or 75%, or I really hope I'm not butchering this figure. I read it online, so I don't know if it's a strong source, but like a vast majority of the money that is in circulation right now has been printed over since the pandemic. So there's a lot of money, and when this much money is floating in the market, things like the NFT space actually can be sustained for a while. The problem is that most of the projects will fail. That's what it is, because most of the money is going to people that are not capable enough to handle it well. And so most of the projects will fail, but some projects will have already become some of the biggest companies on the planet ever. Like, Bored Apes, and recently even the Moonbirds launch. These companies are making the types of money that billion-dollar companies had to spend decades getting to those levels, and these companies are doing that over the course of a few days. So it's a completely new way of financing and operating new big businesses, and that's not going to disappear. That aspect's definitely going to stay. Like, so if the question is, are NFTs going to disappear? No, NFTs, to me, they're going to keep developing, growing, evolving, and will be a strong part of our future. Will the NFT space in its current form, where people are spending, hundreds of thousands on JPEGs, and people are spending like millions of dollars on mints from teams that are not capable, will this moment continue? Likely not, and shouldn't. people learn when things are not well and systems kind of reorganize. So yeah, I don't think NFTs are going anywhere. However, I think that the dynamic that exists right now will definitely change.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Asad. I really appreciate you you coming on and giving us time and giving back to the community. I really do appreciate it. And as we and welcome to the Discord. And as we build on what we're doing, we'd love for you to, keep in touch and see what we're doing, and maybe in the future, also, possibly in a way or shape or form, we can also help you build the future of the Mirrorverse that you're building.
Sweet. Thank you guys so much. Really appreciate the time. We'll talk soon. Right. Cheers.
Thank you, Asad. Thank you so much. So guys, this was the call with Asad. I really appreciate you guys. He's on the Discord as well. We're gonna do the giveaway just now. Very quickly, I'm just gonna let Amara. Do you wanna read the roadmap? Do you want to go through the roadmap real quick? Just read it out and I can expand on it, or do you just want me to do it? I can do it as well. It's okay. I'll do it. So basically, I'm just going to go through the route and a lot of you members are on call. So I'm going to take 5 minutes explaining the route that Dunya is taking. And there are a lot of members on call that are, the OG Dunya members, just so that you guys understand where we're taking this and how this is going to move forward. So as a company, our core basis is number one, to educate, to build the community, and to overall grow, grow together. But the most important thing for us is to create educational content, to do more of these, more of these guest speaker roles with other industry leaders. And there's still so many people that have no idea who Asad Malik and what Jadu do. And if you don't know these people, you guys should do some reading, because in the next 3 to 4 years, these companies, like how they were Amazon's and Microsoft, in Web3, these guys are the top 5, top 6 tier companies. So it's actually massive opportunities that you guys are, that you guys have, because you guys are, your net worth is your network. So it's extremely important to use these opportunities to make the connection, communicate openly, so that you're noticed. If you're noticed at some point or the other, you're opening yourself to a level of business that you didn't before this, right? And it takes a lot of effort to get these people on call. And sure, we have 20, 30 members, but this is where you take the advantage of a smaller community, right? On other calls, these guys have 1,000 people like raising their hands, and now like all your questions can be answered, right? So a lot of people do think NFT is like a bubble, but I also don't believe in NFT or the blockchain being a bubble. My goal as a founder is to empower everyone in the community through knowledge, through my network, to have them go through the network supply chain and enable them to be able to make the best decisions possible when it comes to career and when it comes to financial, the financial decisions that they make in their future. So that's the journey. That's our mission. How are we going to grow as a company is going to obviously be through some sort of investment coming in. And that investment is completely based on the non-fungible token that we're building on. And we feel that in our that we have an essentially extremely strong hold when it comes to networking, when it comes to and when it also comes to building for other stronger brands such as Jadu, such as World of Women, such as other strong companies that have already been established. So we want to create accessories for other companies. This way, Dunya and the community gets to grow with other communities, and that will eventually build us stronger, and that will obviously increase the value of the NFT that you hold, not just in the digital world, but also in the real life. So every time you buy a fashion collection, you get that fashion collection delivered to you at your doorstep. So you get to wear that accessory, that hat, that shirt, the footwear. You get to show that you're a part of something new. You're a part of the future. and you get to use it on your actual avatar on Sandbox or Decentraland. So even if you want to, even if you want to sell it on the blockchain, you can always sell that NFT as well, right? So we're going to do pop fashion sales for accessories. Every time you buy a pop fashion sale of an accessory, you will use your wallet address to log into our Blackboard to access all our courses. So the way to get into the university is through your MetaMask wallet. You're going to log in and you'll be able to have access to all our courses, all our VIP events, and all our real life events as well. Something very unique we're going to do is that every 2 months, we're going to have 2 members join in to mirror us, which means they're going to have 2 random members buying into the collection will be mirroring what the team is doing so that it's transparent. So you guys can see actually what we're doing on a day-to-day basis. So transparency is essential, is extremely important to us. And for anyone who wants to be a part of the building team, and anyone who wants to have decentralized power, which is the DAO, right? You can have an element of decision making in the company if you stake your NFT. Now, a lot of people ask, what's staking? Staking is basically that you can take your NFT and you can say, Taha, I'm not going to sell it for 6 months. We believe in it so much. You can stake it on the blockchain, which means now no one can buy it for 6 months. It's locked in. Now, when it's locked in for those 6 months, you come in as a community member with voting rights, which means if the community wants to make this or this, you do have some voting power within the team to kind of give your feedback. So we have a very unique roadmap. If you still haven't gone through it, I strongly suggest going through the roadmap. 110%, we have pivoted away from our first roadmap release. The reason why we've done that is because at the end of the day, we don't want to be historically incorrect. I don't want to be known for someone who doesn't make a collection which is a lifelong collection. This is a long-term game for me. We're not here to do it overnight. We want to build the right way, and we want to be a sustainable brand with people who are coming in. Also, for anyone who knows me slightly, I'm an absolute insane maniac when it comes to like companies and like their success. Success is extremely important to me, and success when it relies on other people is way more important to me altogether. So the team is working very, very hard in going through the steps of the roadmap. If you have any questions at all, go through the roadmap. In 3 months, we'll be releasing our first NFT metaverse collection. Amara Jabbar is going to be the artist behind it. We have Bakhtavar BMK, who's going to be releasing the fashion release. And in South Asia, we'll be the first metaverse fashion company in Pakistan who's going to be going this route. So we're going to be placed in a very, very, very unique manner. So we're going to do 600 pieces. Anyone who still doesn't understand what we're doing, join the Discord, and we'll be able to help you out with that. Do you have any questions about the roadmap at all? I have another 5 minutes. And Amara, can you talk a little bit about like the route you're taking? And then I'll answer like the last few questions, and we'll do the $100 giveaway.
So the direction we're taking is collaborative in spirit. So right now we're still in the stages of thinking and talking about how we want to imagine the future that we want to present with Dunya. So, I mean, this is particularly an interesting call, especially with Asad, that helped kind of like get in a better understanding. But I think like me and Bakhtavar are still kind of like in the early stages of thinking about what concept we want to present. So we're really excited about the journey because right now it's like completely something that we have not visualized yet. So I think this is the stage that excites me the most because anything can happen right now.
Yep. And in 3 months, you guys will get a finished product. The roadmap will stay the same because I strongly have spent like millions of hours without any sleep thinking about it like a madman. But the creators will create the art, and the first collection is, the artists have been selected. In 90 days. The smart contracts are being built on the blockchain. So we are hand in hand working with decentralized developers to build the accessories for that space as well. What's up, Ashmal? You have a question, my man? You're muted. You're muted. Crypto King, you're muted. You're muted.
My only question is, so in the near future, obviously you do have NFTs coming up, and they do serve a purpose. And there's obviously a lot of them being physical artists. Have you thought about diving into like actual like artists who are singers who are and getting them on a platform and using those NFTs to sort of find a way to connect with the community?
So maybe in the future, our first goal essentially is to create the first fashion metaverse brand, which allows people to connect, attend events. Like for example, I want to see people at a location, like with our metaverse art collection gallery that we're creating, helping people sell their art, helping people communicate through their talent, showing up with our hoodies and our collection, not only in the real world to our events and these guest speaker events, but also in Decentraland and Sandbox. So we want to hit this first. After we hit our first 5 collections, then we will go. We will be obviously exploring and expanding. But that's definitely a really cool thing that we haven't thought about. But that is why these calls are so important to get this information and really, really think about these things. So thank you, Ashma, for that. Any other questions, guys? Cool. So no questions. Zunesh, can you put the Discord link here, and then you can do the giveaway real quick.
The giveaway, should it be done from this meeting, or do you want it to be done from the giveaway
The
from
giveaway
Discord?
the giveaway bot is something that I would
Acha.
just so that everyone has anyone who's a member of the Discord community has a fair chance. I think that's I think we should give them so
Oh,
anyone
okay,
who's
all
not on
right.
the
I'll
Discord,
just make
um,
the
can
poll.
any team member put the
I'm just gonna do
Discord
that.
link here so that we can do the giveaway? It's $100 giveaway for anyone who stayed till the end of the call. So we have 25 people on call, 26 people on call, and one person gets $100. It can't be me though. So
Okay, I'm just gonna make the
what's up,
giveaway.
Ambreen? You can
Hi
speak.
How
Taha,
long?
I'm
Wait,
sorry
Taha,
for
how
us.
long do I? Sorry, I'm so sorry to cut you off. How long do I keep the giveaway for?
You can do the giveaway for what is it? Uh, what? 3 minutes? Yep. And just
Okay.
put in the Discord. Yep. So you guys have 3 minutes to join the Discord. Go on the giveaway channel, and then click on it. Give them 4 minutes, Dinesh. Give them four
Okay.
minutes
All
just so
right.
that everyone gets a chance. What's up, Amreen?
Hi Taha, hope you're doing well. So I have a quick question. I attended the last session as well, and I'm pretty new to the NFT concept and everything. So I just wanted to know, like, how can I get hold of the video which was recorded this time around and the last time around as well?
So this time around, I think we had a 15-minute glitch, which is why like we missed 15 minutes. But most of the call, hopefully, should be recorded. Last
Mm-hmm.
call we had both these calls are recorded. They should go up tomorrow. Hamza is in charge of that. If he hasn't done that, then you should definitely complain about him on the Discord. You
Okay.
should, because that's his job. So
Okay.
if Hamza, someone tag Hamza on the Discord, please ask him when he's gonna put that up.
Oh.
All these calls should be up, and if he hasn't done that, then
Oh.
he's made a boo boo. So we'll
Okay. Thank you, anyways, and you're doing a great job. That's what I wanted to
I
say.
appreciate that. But this will be maximum by tomorrow. I'm pretty sure he'll put it up. I'm pretty sure any other member will also remind him. But just go on the Discord, remind him. He'll put him up in 24 hours.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you.
All right, guys. The giveaway is live on Discord, so you guys can go react to the bot, and yeah, you have 4 minutes to do so, and then whoever wins gets $100. Yeah. Just react to the confetti. Don't react to the fire emoji and the rocket. Those are just extras. You guys have like 3 more minutes. So yeah. You have 1 more minute, and then the winner will be announced. Hope you guys have a MetaMask account, because that's how we're gonna send you the $100. Taha, you there? We have the winner. It's Khalid. You have won
Is Khalid on call?
$100. I don't know if he's on call.
You have to check if he's on call. If he's on
Yes,
call,
yes, I'm on the call.
Okay, he's on call. Congratulations, man.
Thanks, man. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
No worries, no worries.
Thanks.
congratulations, and make sure you follow the last step. Tweet, retweet the fact that you got a giveaway. Thank you guys, appreciate it, and we will see
Sure.
you on Discord. Thank you for taking your time.
Quick question. So,
What's up?
how do we send in the MetaMask wallet?
Zanesh is going to get in touch with you sometime tomorrow, and then we will send you your giveaway within 48 hours.
I bet. Thanks, man.
Yep.
All right.
Thank you. Take
All
care,
right.
guys.
Take care. Thank you, guys. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye. Take care.